tuned into Killing It Corner, bite-sized YouTube shorts with real conversations featuring people who are redefining life, work, and purpose in their next chapter. No fluff, no retirement rules, just honest lessons learned about what it really takes to keep killing it. Before we begin our program, our guest bio. Janine Daughtry has spent her career at the intersection of strategy, transformation, and innovation, and never just in one lane. She sits on the board of Hudson Valley Credit Union, an $8 billion institution where she chairs the finance committee and serves as the treasurer. Most recently, she was vice president of strategy and operations at Gartner, driving global transformation across $6.5 million business and evaluating its AI strategy. She's also taught the next generation of leaders as a guest lecturer at Columbia University and NYU, and is now pursuing a doctorate in business administration at the University of Michigan, Flint, studying how AI shapes strategic decision-making in global firms. Janine was named one of 50 women to watch for boards in 2025 and served on the voting advisory committee for the 2025 Women in AI Global Innovation Awards. Her civic leadership runs just as deep. She's president of the board at Lifting Up Westchester, tackling housing and food insecurity, and a sustaining member of the President's Council of Cornell Women. Welcome to another episode of Killing It Corner. I'm so excited today to be here with my friend Janine Daughtry. Janine and I met at Black Women on Boards and have stayed in contact ever since. Janine also recently retired, and so we're going to talk a little bit about her journey. Welcome, Janine.
Thank you, Lisa. I'm glad to be here.
I'm so glad to have you. So tell us, where are you right now in your journey in this season?
I'd like to say that I'm in my unbossed era. So I walked away from corporate in early 2025, fully what I call work optional. And typically that's when people expect you to decelerate. But instead, I went in the opposite direction. I started working on my doctorate in business. I took on more board leadership, and I started advising the next generation of founders and women in AI. And so I'd say the difference is that I'm not doing any of it now for a performance review. I'm doing it because it matters and because I chose it. And so it's a completely different fuel source from what I had before.
And don't you love it?
Oh, I love it. Love it.
It's just nice to be doing something because you love doing it and not because you're performing for somebody else. And so early last year, anything that surprised you in stepping into this retirement phase, or I call it reinvention phase, because I don't think any of us are really retiring.
No, not really retiring. So I'm actually doing more than I did before. I'd say the surprising thing is how busy I am. So I have to no to things, because now I'm doing what I want to do, but all of these opportunities have presented itself. And if anything, I'm more in demand than I was before. And so I find myself editing opportunities. That's the surprising piece, that how the universe kind of starts aligning to what you're looking for, and opportunities present themselves. And the surprising thing is that I have to say no so that I'm not too busy.
Right, because you can get too busy. And so one of the things I always say is when I retired, I didn't give myself permission to take a break. I said I was going to take 6 months off. I didn't really give myself permission to do that. So I hit the ground running. And so like you, I had to settle in and learn to say no to some things, because I was saying yes to everything.
Because you're so happy to have the time to have those opportunities.
And you're also not used to downtime. You're also not used to downtime.
Correct. So at the end of 2025, I was really tired. Like, I shouldn't be tired.
You're like, I'm supposed to be more relaxed. I'm retired now. And so it sounds like you settled a little bit into a groove now, and into a little bit more of a rhythm. And so what are you doing right now that's really exciting to you?
What am I doing right now that's like, there's so many things. So I feel like now I'm kind of at a perfect moment in my life. So I'm doing finance, I'm doing AI, I'm advising businesses, I'm doing board stuff. It feels like all of the things that I'm interested in are all in alignment, and everything's kind of coming together. So the most exciting thing is that my board work overlaps with my finance work, which is with the stuff that I'm studying in school. So everything is kind of building on one another, and that's the excitement.
So you're getting a doctorate degree at the same
Hmm.
time that you're managing all that, but you're not saying I'm tired, I'm worn out, I'm burned out. So how does that equate that you're getting everybody I know who's gotten a doctorate degree says it's brutal. So you're getting a doctorate degree, but then you've listed like 3 or 4 other things that you're doing. How are you managing all that?
I've spent how am I managing all of that? I would say the difference now versus before is that I was busy before working for other people. Now I'm busy focusing on my vision and doing what I want to do. So that gives me energy. So I'm busy on all the fun stuff. Imagine you can, well, I'm sure you can imagine. I'm spending 24 hours a day doing all the fun things.
And that makes a difference. So when you're energized by what you're doing versus somebody who's dictating what you're doing, I get to
Correct.
choose, I get to decide how much energy, and even more importantly, I get to decide when I exert that energy. So I'm not on any, but it feels good that if I don't feel like working on a given day, I just don't.
Exactly. That's exactly right. One example is last week. So I typically get up early in the day and I go to the gym. And one morning I was just tired. I'm like, you know what? Oh, I'm tired. I feel like sleeping in. Then I said, wait a minute. I can sleep in. No, there's no clock. I can go at 10 a.m. I don't have to be in this rhythm. And that's the beauty of it all. But it takes a while for your brain just to the fact that you can sleep in if you want, right?
You can decide on that given day. There are times I like you, I get up, I'll go to the gym. And there have been times when
Mhm.
like I really don't feel like going to the gym right now. And so I go
Right.
to the gym after lunch. And I was like, who does like who you're supposed to get up and go to the gym in the morning. You're supposed to. And I've learned to say, maybe I don't go to the gym right now. I go to the gym later when I feel like it.
Right.
That's really a great kind of freedom. When you stepped into there, what assumptions did you make about retirement going in? And you've already been challenged by some of those assumptions.
What assumptions did I make about retirement? That I'd be looking for things to do.
Mm,
Maybe that's one assumption. Two is, and the reason why I waited longer, probably longer than I could have, is that I wanted to remain relevant. So I mentioned before that I'm working on boards, I'm doing stuff in AI, and I just wanted to make sure that I remained relevant because I still want to do all those
mm-hmm,
things, except not in a corporate setting.
mm-hmm.
So my advice to people who want to quote unquote retire but still want to be involved is think about it before you actually leave
That's
and
good.
have all of the things that you want to do lined up if you want to remain kind of relevant in the industry.
Had you decided ahead of time, AI is one of those things I want to be relevant in and I want to stay connected on? Did
Mhm.
you know what boards you wanted to be on? I know that you had managed to grab at least one of your boards before you retired. Would you know ahead of time these are the things I'm going to do, or did you step into retirement and then it came like it started to come to you?
I did all those things
Excellent.
before I resigned. So I probably took a year really thinking about what my next chapter would look like. What
Mm,
would my week look like? What would my day look like? So I applied for the doctorate before I quit my job.
okay.
And then I was accepted like around that same time. And I started working on board work before I quit Apple. So all of those things. So I think it's really important to get your ducks in a row before you actually take that leap.
I was going to
Mhm.
ask you, and I think you've answered this, but maybe there's something else you want to add. So, right now for you, what does killing it look like to you? If you're going to say to people, I'm killing it, what does that look like?
Killing it means living your own vision and driving your own vision. You're not driving someone else's vision.
Right.
I mean, it's lovely to drive somebody else's vision for a salary, but killing it looks like I am doing on a daily basis, I'm doing what I want to do in alignment with my vision.
I love that because it's up to you to create that vision. And to your point, and I love your advice, if you don't create that vision ahead of time, if you don't think about what you're going to do ahead of time, you do walk into retirement a little bit disillusioned and a little bit dazed, and they call it the honeymoon fear period, which is usually somewhere between 3 to 6 months. That's your honeymoon period, where maybe if you've been working really, really hard, you are able to just say, hey, I'm just going to do nothing. But if you've been in these high powered jobs, you've been kind of at the VP level, you've been a CEO, it's a little harder to do nothing for 6 months. That's a little tough to do. And to your point, if you've in advance of that outline some things that you know you want to do, you can go ahead and jump into it. So tell us about your doctorate degree a little bit, and just curious. I think people would wonder why you left work and why you left full-time employment to go into a doctorate. So tell us a little bit about that move.
Okay, why did I quit full-time employment? Because I wanted to do what I wanted to do on a daily basis. So that's part one. And then part two was I said, well, what should my next chapter look like? What do I want to do with my life? So it's the doctorate, it's the board work, advising people in AI. So I didn't leave something, rather I moved towards something.
Yes.
And so my doctorate is in management, but I'm also heavily focused on AI and the role of AI and how that plays at the global firm level.
Okay.
And so what I spoke about before was all of my interests coming together, and that's one piece of it.
I love that. Any intention on teaching, or you want to use this really to advise businesses?
Oh, I'm pivoting. I will. My plan is to go into academia.
Ooh.
So retired. Yes, that's my version of retirement. Of course,
absolutely. It's
a
funny.
very busy one.
I did a workshop and I met a gentleman who said, I never thought I'd teach, but he was actually had taken on a role as, he said, I came in as a guest professor. He said, and I loved it so much that I just stayed and started teaching. He said, never in a million years did I think I'd be a professor. And so it's one of those things, to your point, sometimes we have to try some things. You've got to step into something, try it, see if you like it. If you like it, go for it. If you don't like it, the good thing is you're at a phase where you say, I don't want to do that.
Right, exactly. So speaking of which, I had been guest lecturing at Columbia at NYU pretty much every semester for the last 4 years. And I absolutely loved it. And I was thinking, I could do this. Something I wouldn't mind doing in my next chapter. So I kind of, as you have experiences, as I had experiences, rather, I kind of added those things to my list when I thought about what does my ideal life look like.
And similar to that, I thought, I'm going to leave and I'll just be a fractional CFO. That's easy to do. I had talked to a friend and she was a fractional CFO, and I'm like, that's easy to do. And so I did it for a period of time. I'm like, I don't like this. It seems like a job. It just feels a little like a job. I think I just want to be a consultant. I just moved away from that and said, I want to do the finance work. I want to do it on a consulting basis. I want to hit it and run. I want to help solve people's problems. What I don't want them to do is become my problems. And so I love the consulting piece where I'm going in and help solve a problem or fill a gap, help with strategy. But I realized I didn't want the team. I didn't want all of the things that come with being the fractional CFO. Felt too much like a job.
Yes. So even with that, I was asked to do a consulting project. It was like 15 weeks. And I said, no.
You said that sounds like a really long time. What I love about that is you think about it now and how much you work, and you're like, 15 weeks really isn't a long time. But that would take up a significant amount of your time, like 15 weeks.
Yes.
That just seems like a really long time in this reinvention phase where I'm being flexible and I'm doing all the things I want.
Exactly. And I'm doing the board work. Exactly.
And we all know that board work isn't smooth. It has bumps and highs and lows, and sometimes it's lows, then other times you spend a lot of time. And so the flexibility, I don't know if you enjoy the board more now that you have the extra time than you did when you were working. I don't know, is that a case for you?
I would say that I enjoy the board work the same. However, when I was working a full-time job, the board work is what gave me excitement.
Got it.
Like, the full-time job was okay, but the board work.
So your advice was for people to put the plan together early, start thinking ahead of time that you want to make this transition. Anything else that you would share with them before we close?
Yeah, basically start the inner work before you need to. So you should really design the next chapter of your life while you're still in this chapter. And if you're thinking of joining a board, build your board readiness and build your network before you need them, because boards come through, I would say, relationships and visibility.
Absolutely. I had Shelley Lombard on earlier on a session, and that's exactly what, Shelley does smooths, and she said that,
Yes.
80% of boards come through relationships. And so to your point, it's easier to build those relationships when you're working because your touch points are more often. You've got to work a little harder at it after you are out of the work world because you're not in connection with as many people. Janine, it's been a pleasure and an honor to have you today. Thank you for your time. I know you're super busy in your reinvention time. It's funny to say that you're super busy now that you're retired. But
Super
I
duper busy.
super busy, but I'm glad that you came on, and I know that your story will resonate with someone else. Someone else is thinking about it and trying to figure out what's next, and your story and your excitement is going to help somebody else get to the place where they think it's time for me to just do what I need to do and start killing it.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, thank you, and have a wonderful, wonderful week.
Thank you, Lisa. You too.